Hello everybody. In this video, we'll be taking a look at Joe Biden's best case scenario for the 2024 presidential election. So first of all, Joe Biden and Donald Trump debated yesterday on Thursday. That debate just got finished, so we'll see how the results come looking in the polls, see if there are any shifts in the polls or if nothing really changed, but this is just assuming that for Joe Biden that his supporters are still supporting him and that he's able to get high turnout like he did in 2020 and that many Trump voters won't be so enthusiastic to vote for him. So first of all, we'll start by filling out the safe states. We'll start off with the safe blue one since it's Joe Biden's best case. We'll start off with the West Coast. He's going to get that. He'll get Hawaii. He'll win all of these New England states. He'll win Maine's first district. Maine at large will be safe. New Hampshire will be safe. Colorado will be safe. And we can even throw in Virginia, New Mexico, and New York will be safe. Illinois. These will be safe blue states for sure on Joe Biden's best case scenario. Now we'll go to Donald Trump's safe states. He's still going to win Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota. He'll win Nebraska's 3rd district, Nebraska at large. He'll still win. He'll win West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri. Kansas is still going to be double digits, so safe Kansas. And Indiana will still be safe. And the state of Utah will also be safe Republican. Now let's look at the likely states. We'll start off with Joe Biden's likely states. He'll first take the state of Minnesota. In 2020, he was able to take that state by about 7 percentage points. That was a lot because of the Minneapolis turnout being higher. And this is assuming that that same turnout is going to occur and that the rural areas won't vote as hard for Trump as they did in 2020. And Nebraska's 2nd district will also be a likely blue. Joe Biden, 2020, he was able to win this district by over 5 points. And this is assuming that the Omaha region will just trend even further to the left, thus shifting the district even more to the left, even though it was redrawn to barely favor Republicans. However, in Joe Biden's best case scenario, he'll still be able to win this district more than he did in 2020. For the state of Arizona, it's going to be a close one, whether it's lean or likely for Joe Biden. For example, in 2022 for the Senate, that is almost a likely margin right there. That is decimals away from being a likely margin right there. So, actually, I think on like a best case scenario, if Joe Biden really turns out those voters in Maricopa County, I actually think Joe Biden can carry the state of Arizona barely by a likely margin on a best case scenario. And for Trump's likely states, first we'll start with Nebraska's 1st district. This area is turning slightly to the left already. Trump won it by lower double digits in 2020. If Joe Biden's able to improve in these areas and the rural areas here don't turn out well, Joe Biden will be able to get this district under 10 points. Also, the state of South Carolina, this state will also go under 10 percentage points on Joe Biden's best case scenario. We have several counties in this state that are trending to the left, also many trending to the right. So this is assuming that those right trending counties just do not turn out, that the left ones turn out with big numbers. And Donald Trump in 2020 only won the state by under 12 percentage points, so it's just a little bit over 10 percentage points. But on Joe Biden's best case, he'll be able to get this state under 10 percentage points. State of Iowa, I still think this state will be a likely Republican state. This state has shifted away from Democrats recently in these years, but this is assuming that 2024 that these voters will go back to Biden who are not pleased with him now in this state. margins will narrow just a tiny bit compared to 2020, but it's still going to be a likely margin. Same goes for Ohio, very similar to Iowa, where the state has shifted away from Democrats, but if Joe Biden's able to hold strong with these voters, then the state could get slightly closer, but still will be over 5 percentage points for both Iowa and Ohio. Also in the state of Florida, yeah, it's still gonna be a likely Republican state even on Joe Biden's best case scenario because just how far this state has shifted to the right has done a lot more than Iowa and Ohio. But in this case, we'll have a blue Miami-Dade County. It'll still get closer either way, but Miami-Dade County will be blue. These other counties that flipped blue in 2020 will probably stay blue. However, instead of 3 percentage points, it'll be more like right at 5 percentage points, so barely a likely red. Now we'll go to the lean states. We'll start off with lean states for Joe Biden. First off, we have the state of Michigan. The state in 2020 was barely in the lean category for Joe Biden, as it was the least close out of the three Rust Belt states. But this is assuming that these urban areas turn out well for Biden and that they trend to the left, while the rural areas just don't turn out. These people who were once unsatisfied with him are coming back to him. He's able to improve his 2020 margin here, hit it about 4 percentage points on a best case scenario for Biden. Also, Pennsylvania will be a lean Democrat as well. Joe Biden in this state was able to do decently in 2020. It was a tilt margin, but not too far from a lean. So, assuming even it's his birth state, in this case, people will realize that and they'll be satisfied with it and they'll turn out for Biden in this state to where he'll win it by about 3 percentage points or something like that. And state of Wisconsin will also be a lean blue state. It won't be quite as blue as Michigan or Pennsylvania, but it'll still be about 2 to 3 percentage points for Joe Biden in this case. We'll have the Milwaukee area trend even harder to the left, and Joe Biden will have high turnout there. And in Dane County, the turnout there is going to increase, and the rural areas just will not turn out any better for Donald Trump on Joe Biden's best case scenario. So therefore, Joe Biden sweeps the Rust Belt in this case, and he also wins the election. We haven't even finished the map. And state of Nevada will also be a lean Democratic state. In 2020, Joe Biden won it by over 2 percentage points. Overall, the state has seemed to shift to the right in 2022. However, this case is assuming that in 2024 that the state does not shift any towards the right, and the people in Clark County will trend back towards the left. Therefore, Joe Biden will be able to win the state maybe about 2 to 3 percentage points at best. However, since the state has shifted toward the right, it's not going to get much bluer at all, or it might be just very similar to 2020 on Joe Biden's best case scenario. And now we'll go to the lean states. We'll start off with Alaska. This can go lean Republican on Joe Biden's best case scenario. This state has seemingly shifted towards the left overall. It's a pretty weird state in terms of elections. However, seems like overall it's shifting towards the left. However, Trump seems to be doing pretty well in this state in terms of polling, but polling doesn't show everything. This is assuming that Joe Biden's able to win over many of these voters who are not very pro Trump in this state, which will narrow this state down to about maybe 4 percentage points. And then many third party voters will hurt Trump in this state. And the state of Texas, this will also be lean Republican of Joe Biden's best case scenario. Democrats have been trying a long time to win this state. They still haven't done it in such a long time. However, it's been getting closer up in 2020, but 2022 we haven't seen the state really get closer for Democrats. However, though, in 2024, this is assuming that all these urban areas, the Dallas region, the Austin area, the Houston area, San Antonio, all those places, we assume that turnout there will go even higher for Democrats, and then the counties surrounding Dallas will flip blue, and then the Hispanics in the Rio Grande Valley will just not turn out for Donald Trump. They'll revert back to Biden, thus bringing the state to about 3 to 4 points for Donald Trump. Maine 2nd District will also be a lean for Donald Trump. This is a very rural district, which Donald Trump tends to do well in rural areas. However, this is assuming that this area is just not pro Donald Trump anymore, and they head back to Democrats, and thus the district will be about 3 to 4 percentage points for Donald Trump. Now we'll go to the tilt blue state. We'll start off with the state of Georgia. In 2020, Joe Biden was able to narrowly flip Georgia. This state, it was the closest one out of all the swing states. That was because of the high Democratic turnout in the Atlanta area. So in this case, we're going to assume that the Atlanta area is going to turn out really high for Biden again, and many of these other urban counties. Then the rural counties just do not improve at all for Donald Trump. In this case, we'll see Georgia probably go about 1 percentage point for Joe Biden, and also on a best case scenario for Joe Biden, he'll narrowly be able to flip the state of North Carolina. This state was the closest state in 2020 that was a win for Donald Trump. As from 2016 to 2020, we saw a trend towards the left. However, this is assuming that these 2022 trends in certain areas that trended towards the right just revert back to Democrats, and then the Raleigh area, the Charlotte area will have really high turnout for Joe Biden. The suburbs in Charlotte will trend towards the left, and all the rural areas just do not turn out very well for Donald Trump. Joe Biden will win the state of North Carolina by under a percentage point, thus expanding his 2020 victory. So this is what Joe Biden's best case scenario will look like in the 2024 presidential election. He wins with 319 electoral votes, while Donald Trump only gets 219. So thank you all for watching. Be sure to comment down below and like and subscribe. Just let me know what you agree or disagree on, and bye bye.